Hey everyone, Matt Pisarcik with RazorEmporium.com. Today to do a tutorial on how to restore a vintage straight razor strop. Maybe you've seen one in an antique store, maybe you've seen one hanging at your grandfather's house or in the garage somewhere and you wanted to get it back in working order. In today's video, we're going to show you how to do that. So the first thing I always like to do when working on an old strop is to kind of first take an assessment, kind of look it over, see what my work is going to be in front of me. It looks like this is an old double duck strop, very collectible, very cool. We want to make sure we preserve the original gold leaf foiling that's on the leather and canvas side. But we also want to make sure that the leather that has years of scars and nicks and scrapes and age, all that needs to be re-flattened out, re-oiled so we can actually use it again. I'm going to start by taking off the hardware. This looks like it's a steel that's been plated or coated in brass or gold. And we're going to take that off and get it refinished. So the first part of that is to use a 3M radial bristle brush to quickly and safely take off all the original finish before we get it into the tumbler. Now our tumbler is awesome because it will take this kind of brush, kind of splotchy look finish that the radial wheel does, but actually kind of even everything out and give it kind of an original factory look. You'll see some imperfections still, but it's going to look very even, very uniform. Next up, with our cotton canvas, I want to take away all these years of grime and dirt and gunk that's all over the canvas section of it. So to do that, I'm going to bring it into our ultrasonic cleaner. Now, this bay of the ultrasonic machine is loaded with what's called a buffing compound remover. It's a very powerful detergent or soap that's great at taking away, dirt and grime and all those other things I just described. So not only are we going to soak it in the ultrasonic cleaner, but we're also going to use a brush to kind of agitate and scrub away some of all this gunk and crap. I'm making sure to not put the entire thing too much into the machine so we don't lose too much of this original foil stamp. But truth be told, this canvas side, the foil is already so delicate because it's not exactly adhered to a solid surface like the leather. The webbing itself, that foil is already pretty delicate and probably some of it is going to come off just as a byproduct of cleaning this up. But I still think it's worth it because it's going to go from looking like something you found that looks dirty and gross to something you can actually use again. If you're at home and you're trying to do the same step, you can always use your dishwasher or the washing machine on a gentle cycle, and just that hot water, hot soapy suds are going to help to remove some of this old grime. So the next step is to sand the leather down, removing kind of the top layer. This is where all the oils are, but also where all the scratches, the dings, the dents that have come across that leather over the years. And this is going to get the surface to be flat once again so that you can use it for stropping a straight razor. So I'm going to carefully use a small sanding block I made up and just do some very light kind of swirling motions, making sure not to scratch the leather any more than it already is, but to carefully remove that top layer. I'm also going to pay a lot of attention to the areas that have gold foil stamping so that I don't accidentally take off the logo. With a strop like this that's collectible because of the name, if I remove any of that logo, it's going to take away from its value. I'm also paying special attention to the edges of the leather. A lot of times old leather starts to curl, and that's also going to give a straight razor edge a dulling effect. So I'm actually going along the edge and kind of almost beveling it, making sure that I have a flat surface on top and the corners aren't rolled up and interfering with my stropping action. Well, I think the sanding looks pretty good, so we're going to go over and start actually reconditioning the leather to make it come back to its former glory and get it ready for stropping at daily usage once again. Another easy tool you can use if you don't have sandpaper is an emery board or an emery file. Maybe your wife or significant other has one lying around that's used for fingernails. Those work great for getting out any kind of dings or dents in the leather as well. So that's another pro tip if you have one of those lying around. Now comes the fun part. We're going to head over to my favorite machine in the shop. It's a shoe polishing station that came right out of an old hotel. This machine is used for all sorts of things in the shop, but one of my favorite is brush and strop restoration. These horsehair and cotton wheels replicate the action of polishing a pair of shoes or anything made of leather back and forth with a horsehair brush, but doing it at a much faster pace. We're going to use a combination of otter wax, leather oil, and Lincoln natural wax shoe polishing compound to rehydrate the leather, breathe new life into the leather, and get the original look back into the material so that the top and bottom match the middle. The process is kind of experimental. I'm going to do a little bit of adding some compound, a little bit of buffing, and kind of going back and forth until I get the finish that I want. The important thing in this process is to do a blending action, meaning that we're trying to match everything up so it looks uniform. It looks like we never did any work to it at all. The final step is to do a kind of a final polish on some denim. It does great to kind of abrase away any kind of particles of maybe the cotton wheel left behind, kind of give a real final uniform look to the leather. I'm using my denim apron. You can also obviously use a pair of denim jeans and just kind of quickly go back and forth, get a little friction, and you'll be surprised how the burnishing action blends everything perfectly together and the strop looks brand new. Well, I'm excited that the piece of hardware that'll be sent over to our plating lab has come and it's completed. We did a copper plate on this steel material. We thought it would give kind of an original rustic look to it, and over time the copper is going to start to patina and age, and it's going to end up looking beautiful in its own natural way. I've let the cotton canvas air dry as we were doing the leather restoration work, and now I'm getting everything back together and assembling all the pieces. It's come together perfectly, and I'm really happy with the final product. This strop is from the 1940s or 1950s, but it looks like it was just made. And that's the really cool part of working on old vintage hardware like this. It was made out of such a high quality material, we can actually bring it back to its original glory. So we're excited to have this new service as part of the lineup at the RazorEmporium workshop doing strop restoration. And if you have any restoration tips of your own, please let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching our video today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time for all things wet shaving here at RazorEmporium.